Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Oh, good morning. If it is morning where you are, good evening. If it is evening where you are, how are we all doing? It's been a while. Yes, we were not here last week. So, how is everyone doing? I trust we're all good. I trust we're having an awesome day so far. This is Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. I just did my sound check on the other platforms to be sure. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram. Um, Let me be sure that we're live on LinkedIn and we're live on YouTube. Okay, so everywhere you go. Yes, we're live everywhere right now, basically. So, how are you doing? As I said, I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. Do let me know that you're here. Do let me know where you're joining me from. Is it morning where you are? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? How is everything going with you? Um, let me start from thanking everyone. Yesterday was my birthday. I tried to be low key about the birthday, actually. I was careful not to make it known that it was my birthday until much later. In fact, the post I sent didn't look like a birthday post. You had to read it. It was a test to see who actually reads the posts and reads it to the end. And yeah, I found out that people don't read those posts to the end because if you had read to the end, you would have seen that it was my birthday. So yeah, okay. Mm, Yesterday was my birthday. Thank everyone that did read to the end to see that it was my birthday, and some that, of course, Facebook notified, and they sent me birthday wishes. Thank you, everyone, for wishing me a happy birthday. I enjoyed myself. We actually celebrated as a family the day before Sunday because Monday everybody goes to work, no time, blah blah blah, and all that. And then I had a couple of errands to run during the day. That's yesterday, so it would have been kind of difficult to do it that Monday. So on Sunday, everybody came. All my children were around. We just did a little get together in the backyard, mini picnic, if you will call it that, sandwiches, things like that. So, yes, I enjoyed myself. And thank everyone once again that wished me a happy birthday. I got so many messages on WhatsApp. Um, yeah, I didn't expect, like I said, I did not want to clearly state that it was my birthday. I just wanted to see who would remember. Of course, I knew that Facebook would remind people, but then some people should have either known or put it in their calendar and remembered. So I guess it was a little test. Well, thank you everyone once again for the birthday wishes. That's number one. I just have a couple of things to say before we officially kick off today's session. This is session 117. I mean, and we're starting we have a new theme. Now we've concluded what we were talking about last time. So we have a new theme. It's just give me 1 second. I'm trying to send off a message that's kind of time critical. Um, I should have done this earlier, but some things were not quite okay for me to do that. Okay, so yes, the next thing I guess okay, let me not say first. I will skip the second thing I wanted to talk about. Let me see if anybody will make the comment. Then I will say something. But if nobody makes the comment, Good and fine. We are good and we move on. Okay, so welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi session 117, as I said. And this month of August, we're going to be talking about habits of influence. Habits of influence. That is leading yourself and then also leading others. Because yeah, generally, um, and we're going to start today's session. Today's session is talking about leading yourself and also being able to lead others well. That's what we're going to talk about today. Because in order to influence people, for you to be able to influence anyone whatsoever, you have to influence yourself first. If you're not able to influence yourself, to lead yourself, you truly cannot lead any other person. You cannot influence any other person. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today, leading yourself and leading others well. As I said, for the whole month of August, we're going to be talking about habits of influence, the things that we can do that will help us to influence others positively. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the month of August. We're going to have, I think, one guest, or is it two? I will confirm. I think either one guest or two guests this month of August to join us in this discussion. So, hmm, habits of influence. Leading yourself. Honestly, when I was thinking about this topic, when I was writing it down, I really gave it quite a bit of thought whether I should even bother with this topic because it's not easy to influence people. It really is not. It is not easy to influence people. We even as leaders, as in maybe due to position, you have a leadership position. You can lead people and yet you're not influencing them. It sounds almost like a paradox. How? But you can lead people and you're not influencing them. You can be the GM and you're leading people, but there is no influence in their lives. You're not really truly influencing their lives. You're not really truly impacting them in a lasting way. Let me put it that way. In a lasting way. You're not really impacting them. Yes, you're leading them, you're showing them what to do, they're reporting to you and all that. But you're not really impacting their lives. And as I said, it's difficult. It's really difficult to influence any other person if you can't influence yourself, if you're not able to lead yourself. I don't know how you're going to lead others. Okay, so that is what the month of August is all about, habits of influence. Because I believe influence is key, because influence is really um, your ability to affect how someone feels, to affect how someone thinks, to affect how someone acts. That is what influence is. But once again, if you can't affect how you yourself think, how you yourself feel, how you yourself act, how are you going to do that for someone else? Okay, it's nearly impossible. So I hope I think I've checked on Facebook, I'm audible. I believe also on Instagram, I'm audible. Let me just quickly check. Okay, so yeah. Victor, I can see you on Instagram. Thank you for joining our live today. I'm not able to see the people on Facebook, but I can see that someone is there. It's showing me one person for now. Okay, more than one. Okay, okay. Another person just joined too on Facebook. So as I said, influence is your ability to affect how someone thinks, how someone feels, and how someone acts. So we're going to be looking at habits that you yourself can imbibe that will help you to influence how someone thinks, how someone feels, or how someone acts. But as a start, you have to be able to influence how you think, how you feel, and how you act before you can move on to someone else. So, there's this saying, I'm sure we've all heard it, and it says that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Um, and it's true. If your cup is empty, what are you pouring? Really, nothing. So that is why, um, truly, truly, it's essential that you're able to lead yourself, you're able to influence yourself, then you can influence anybody else. Okay. So, I'm sure that if I ask us now, we have some people we admire, people who we see as effective leaders, people who we see that they have somehow built some kind of habit of discipline, reflection, emotional control, intentional growth, and things like that. And we admire these people, and we would want to be one of such persons. I am sure if I ask us now to name one or two, you can name maybe two, three, four for some people that you actually, admire because you have seen that they are effective in their leadership or they appear to be effective in their leadership. Because I mean, you don't know everything. You only know what you see. So, and you would love to be like them. You would love to, excuse me, would love to be able to show discipline, love to be able to have the emotional control. You would love to be able to exhibit intentional growth like those people that you see. And I want to tell that it's possible because leaders are actually made. Great, effective leaders are made. They are not born with it. You might be born with some leadership capabilities. You might be born with some leadership traits, but to have sustained effective leadership, you need to build it. You need to create it. You need to make yourself into an effective leader. Nobody is born an effective leader. We are born with some leadership traits, I agree. But if you don't work on you, what happens is that, yes, you might still lead people. You might still lead people. Oh, thank you, uh, Pastor Favor. It's not Pastor Favor Siri now. Favor Joshua. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you so much. So it's not, you have to build those skills as I'm talking about. You have to build them into yourself so that you can now influence others, so that you can lead others. Even if you don't want to be a leader, in quote, you don't want to be a leader as per in the name, but you do want to influence people. I know that most of us want to be able to influence people. We want to be able to say, I had an impact on the life of so and so person. So those are the things we're going to try and look at. Like I said, these things they're doable. You teach yourself, you learn it, you operate in it, and in time it becomes um, normal. Yesterday, somebody sent me, I did not save that message. I just realized now that I didn't. I did not save it. And I don't even know if I can still, let me see if I can still see it. Because I think it goes a long way to show a little bit of what I want to talk about today. Let me just see if I can still see that message, if possible. I wish it was on their status. It wasn't. It's not like the person sent me a message. It was on their status, and I viewed it, and I wanted to screenshot it, but I'm sure I didn't. I remember now that I did not screenshot that message. Okay, I think it's still visible. Let me screenshot it now. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, it was a birthday message somebody sent to me. The person knows themselves. So they sent me this birthday message. They said, "Happy birthday, Mama. I love you so much. I'll always cherish the way you taught me to think for myself. Whenever I come to you with challenges, you'd encourage me to find my own solutions. You'd guide me, nudging me toward discovery rather than simply providing the answers. Your approach not only helped me grow, but also instilled in me the confidence to tackle problems individually." That is influence. That is influence. Being able to impact the way someone thinks, the way someone feels, the way someone acts. That is influence. And that is what we want to look at in this month of August, how you can begin to gain the habits that will help you influence people. So, what does it even mean to lead yourself? Because today we're talking about leading yourself. And leading yourself is just the ability to intentionally guide your thoughts, guide your actions, guide your emotions. And all this is toward your values, towards your goals. And you need to do this consistently. It's not that you did it once and that is all, or you did it 2 or 3 times and that is it. It's something you do consistently. Consistently. So, leading yourself is the ability to intentionally guide your thoughts, your actions, your emotions towards the goal that you're trying to achieve, the values that you're propagating. Sometimes we say, um, "How do I guide my thoughts? How do I guide my emotions?" Because most times we can't influence the thoughts that jump into our heads. We really cannot. But we can influence the thoughts that we do think, and that is what we need to work on for us to lead ourselves well. For you to lead yourself well, you have to be able to guide your thoughts, guide your actions, guide your emotions. Very essential. And in doing this, we have to be one self aware. You have to be self aware. You have to understand your triggers. You have to understand your tendencies. You have to understand the patterns that form your behavior, that form how you act. When I say you have to understand yourself, self awareness, you have to understand your triggers. What makes you upset? Don't tell me somebody's actions per se, but what about that person's action upsets you? What is it about the way the person said what they said that's upsetting you? What is it about the action that person took that is upsetting you? What is it about it that's upsetting you? Because it's not just the action that's the problem. There is an aspect, there's something about that action that is upsetting you specifically, that's upsetting me specifically. What is it? This is how we understand our triggers. This is how we are able to understand our tendencies, our patterns. When we see that when so so and so person does A, my reaction is always B. That is a pattern. That is a tendency. Whenever, whoever it is, whenever I see this action from anybody, this is my reaction. Then you need to sit down and figure out, why are you reacting in this way because of this action? The Well, I call it the mistake many of us make is that we think we are reacting, for example, in anger to something someone said just because that thing was annoying. Why is it annoying you? Because that exact same thing can be said to me and I wouldn't be annoyed. So why is it annoying you and not annoying me? Self-awareness. Self-awareness. Like taking myself personally. I don't get upset so much, not because I'm a superwoman, but because I've learned that There are certain things that upset me. I know them. I've taken time to know that this, and this upset me. But I've also taken time to ask myself, why does this really upset you? And many a times I've found that some of the things that get me angry, that get me upset, is because the person is hitting at a nerve in me. The person is hitting at my what's that word they call it? The areas that I feel, I'm not good enough in. Something you said is hitting at the nerve for that in me. Something you said is making me feel more inferior. Something you said is making me feel not up to. And to show that I'm up to, I act out in anger. To show that I'm up to, I need to put you in your place so that I can convince myself that I am up to. I am not inferior. That is, the triggers. I've known what the triggers are for me getting upset. And so to deal with it, whenever somebody does something upsetting, that is upsetting to me, I take a minute and I think, if you react to this, is it a sign that this person has pressed your button? That button that, tells you, imposter syndrome. I suffered from imposter syndrome for years. Is it this thing they said, is it triggering that imposter syndrome in you? And once I identify that, yes, no more reaction from me. No more reaction from me on that point at all. Because I am not an imposter. I am not. So that's why it's essential to know you. See, now you can say what yesterday triggered me. You say it to me today and I'm not triggered. And you'll be wondering what happened. It's not because you changed how you said it. It's the same tone of voice you use, probably the exact same words coming from exactly the same person. But my reaction has changed. Why? Because I have become more self aware. I've sat down and understood my triggers. I understood my tendencies. I understood my patterns. And I'm able in time to work on them. Chef Nenny, thank you for joining me on Instagram. I can see you. Welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. So you see that now it's no longer a matter of you did something that is upsetting to me. It's a matter of I did not react. So one of the key pillars of leading yourself is self awareness. Understand yourself, know the things that trigger you and why. Why is it triggering you? Why is that action triggering you? And some of us, I don't know, I don't. Yes, you do. It just takes you to take a minute and stop, pause, think about it. Why is this thing upsetting me, really? There's this thing they say you ask 5 questions, as per you ask why 5 times for any action you're trying to get to the root of, and you will get to the answer. Okay, this person spoke to me rudely and I got angry. You ask yourself why. You could say it's because they spoke angrily, no problem. So why was that a problem? Why did you take their rudeness to heart? Why? And if you're able to answer, okay, because they made me feel inferior, why? Why is that making you feel inferior? That somebody spoke to you rudely? Why is that making you feel inferior? And as you keep answering the whys, you get to the root of why this thing is triggering you. And once you're able to get to that root, the solution is already there for you. I gave the example of myself. Once I realized that a lot of the things that trigger me, that get me upset, is because they are pressing that nerve of inferiority complex, that nerve of imposter syndrome that I was under for long. Once I realized that this is the root of my getting upset at what whoever said, those things stopped upsetting me. because I worked on my mindset to understand that I am not an imposter. I know some things. Yes, I don't know everything, but I do know some things. So those things I know, they're enough. And I'm not resting on my oars because I just know a little thing. I know a few things. I'm not resting on my oars. I am working and improving myself. So, key pillar, this is very important. That's why I'm spending so much time on this self awareness. So, when people say things that ordinarily upset me now, I take a minute and think about it. Is this one really, is it also relating to that imposter syndrome thing? Once there's a yes in my spirit, I shut down the emotions. You can't, why should I waste my emotions? Why am I wasting it? Because emotions are precious. They're actually precious. Why am I wasting it at that point? It doesn't need, I fight. There's no need to waste that emotion at that point to get angry for something that really is not real. I am not an imposter. And because I'm not an imposter, that you said one thing that is trying to trigger the imposter syndrome again, it can't work anymore. It can't work anymore. So each of us needs to sit and figure out these things because your own triggers definitely are different from mine. Definitely. There are other emotions, just to use this one to give us example. There are other emotions that you feel, and you need to figure out what is triggering it. What is bringing about this pattern in this behavior? And as you do, the solution is basically there and you deal with it, you will find that those same words, those same actions, those same deeds by someone will no longer trigger you. Okay, so first pillar, self awareness. Self awareness. The next pillar is self discipline. Self discipline, doing what needs to be done, even when it is hard. Doing what needs to be done, even when it is hard. By the time you analyze your feelings, really, by the time you analyze your emotions, why is this thing triggering me? Why am I responding in this way? Then there is a solution at hand because you have figured out why this thing is triggering you. How do I deal with it? Then do what needs to be done, even when it is hard. Most times it's not easy. So that even when it is hard, it's like 98, 99% of the time. It is hard, but do what needs to be done, even when it is hard. Because, see, you're not doing it for the person that is upsetting you, you're doing it for yourself. So do what needs to be done. That now, I rarely, I'm not saying I don't ever, because it's not true. I do still get upset at some things, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot now to get me upset. So, did I not help myself? It's for my benefit that I worked on that. I am doing it for my good. So I just had to discipline myself to never one react immediately something happens. It's rare. It's not as if I never do it. I still once in a while something happens, I react immediately. But in most situations, when something happens, even in my head, immediately I'm beginning to do this assessment in my head. This anger that's rising up in me, what's bringing it? You know? And as I do this assessment in my head, I know what to do. If it is being triggered by imposter syndrome, I shut it down immediately. It is not easy. When you hear me saying this, I shut it down. It's like there's no magic to it. It's because over time I have practiced shutting down those emotions when they don't make sense for the time. So I'm seeing some comments on Facebook. Let me just quickly go there. Okay, Kelechi, welcome. I see you. Ozo says exactly. Self-discipline is really hard, but with self-awareness, I think it will help me instead of unnecessarily giving myself headache. That is it. Nobody's self-discipline is easy. It can't be easy. It's hard. But when you have taken the time to understand your triggers, your tendencies, your patterns, you've known you save yourself a lot. Truly, you save yourself a lot. So, two pillars of leading yourself: self awareness, self discipline. Self awareness, self discipline. The next thing that I want to talk about is vision alignment. This is a way to help you lead yourself. Ensure that whatever it is you're doing is in sync with your long term vision, your long term goals. If your long-term vision and your long-term goals is to be a person of impact, because that's not a short-term something. If that is your goal, if that is your vision, then there's some actions you know you cannot take. You can't impact people if you yourself are not impacted by you. Let me just put it that way. So because you know that this is my long-term vision, this is my long-term goal, then your actions, the things you do, must align to achieving that goal. Anything that you're doing that is not aligning to you achieving that goal of being a person of impact, you pack it away. Self discipline comes in once again. You shift those ones to the side in the meantime. So, self awareness, self discipline, vision alignment. And finally, in this area, resilience. Resilience, your ability to bounce back from setbacks. Because what? There will be setbacks. It's a given. And you know, in saying resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks. It has to be without losing your focus, vision alignment, because you know where you're going, you know where you're heading, you know it. Therefore, when setbacks come, you're able to bounce back and maintain your focus. Be a person of resilience. In this way, if you're able to be self aware, you're able to be self disciplined, you're able to have vision alignment, and you're able to be resilient, you lead yourself properly. And then you can, with that base, lead others. With that base, you can influence others. So, self awareness, self discipline, vision alignment, resilience, these are the pillars of self leadership, and they form ultimately the pillars to your influencing and impacting others. Remember that this month we're talking about habits of influence, and we started this week with leading yourself. Now, I remember something I wanted to say in the beginning. I had wanted to apologize for the session we missed, the last session of the July topic. I might still do a video and post on that so that we don't completely lose it, but I'll think about it. Let's see how it goes. So, these are the pillars of leading yourself: self awareness, self discipline, vision alignment, resilience. These are the pillars because leading people, leadership in general, is not a title. Oh. It's not just that I'm called manager. It has to be a lifestyle. When it is a lifestyle, it goes beyond the workplace and you influence and lead people every. So it's not about the title. It has nothing really to do with the title, really. It is a lifestyle. It is a way that you live your life. I'm seeing another comment from Moses. Say, if your short-term goals are overwhelming your long-term goals, do not set aside the long-term goals. Okay, do you set aside the long-term goals and pick it up when it's convenient, or does it mean you have failed? Okay, you have not failed, first of all. First of all, you have not failed. Now, what you need to do is to sit down and look at those short-term goals. Generally, Generally, your short-term goals are meant to be subsets of your long-term goals. Generally, that's what they're meant to be. Your short-term goals should be subsets to your long-term goals. That is, your long-term goals broken down become your short-term goals. But if these short-term goals are completely in disalignment with your long-term goals, you need to sit down, look at it again. Is either you need to tweak your long-term goals or you need to tweak the short-term goals. Because if your short-term goals are overwhelming your long-term goals, it means they're not in alignment, first of all. So there's a disconnect already. You need to sort out that disconnect. There is a disconnect already because your short-term goals are meant to be subsets of your long-term goals. They are not meant to be polar opposites. They are not meant to contrast. They are not meant to clash. Like I teach the people I mentor, the people I work with, when you have your long-term goal, a goal you want to achieve in the next 5 years, for example, you break it down to what you need to achieve every year. Then from what you need to achieve every year, you take this year's own and you break it down to what you need to achieve every month. From what you have, itemized that you need to achieve every month in order to achieve your yearly goal that will help you achieve your 5 year goal. You now break those monthly goals down again to what do you need to achieve every week. You see, that way your short term goals are in alignment with your long term goals. But if there is a disalignment, please review everything. Review the short term goals, review the long term goals, and see where the disconnect is. So it's not that you have failed, you just need to reassess. You just need to reassess. That's what it means when maybe your short term goals seem to be overwhelming your long term goals. So just reassess, and you can come up with more aligned goals. I hope I answered your question, Uzo. Okay. All right. So now we might say, "Ah, she's talking self-leadership, leading yourself. Why is this even important? Is it even really important?" It is, because when you are able to lead yourself, it gives you it gives you credibility, actually, because people are generally more likely to follow someone that they see is practicing what they're preaching. Generally, people follow the one they see who practices what they preach. Once you see a disalignment or a misalignment between what someone preaches and their life, you generally don't want to follow such a person. Normally, you do not want to follow such a person. So, why it's important for you to lead yourself is that truly for you to be able to impact people, you need to create that kind of credibility because they are seeing you live out this life. They are seeing it play out in your own life. They can now follow. They can, yeah, follow because they're seeing it play out in your life. Okay. All right. So that is one reason why it's important to lead yourself. Yeah, lead by example. That is why it's important. And when when you have, I don't want to say when mastered, let me still use it. When you have mastered the art of self-leadership, you will find that whether you are, thrust into a leadership position like in the office or anywhere, Wherever you find yourself, whatever role you find yourself playing, whatever room you find yourself walking into, you're able to an extent, meet up. You're able to bring to bear into that new role, into that new room, the values that you have worked on. That's why it's essential to lead yourself first. So your role changes. You show up. You're placed in a new position, in a new environment. You show up because this is now you. You have built this character. You have worked on yourself. You have led yourself. You walk into every new role, into every new room that you're thrust into with that set of characteristics inside. You're already used to it. It follows you everywhere. So that is another reason why it's very important that you lead yourself. And when you lead yourself, of course, you now begin to influence what's happening around you. The example I read of that message someone sent to me on my birthday. Now, when I was doing these things with, I don't even think I didn't even give it thought because this is how I solve problems. Once I have a problem, I reason it out first. I reason it out. What is this? Why is this? Step by step, I work on it. Step by step, I look at it. This is how I solve problems. So when you come to me, I don't know how to, when you come with me, I give you solution. I don't think it works that way. Because the solution I give you, if it doesn't work, it's my fault. Because I gave you that solution. But the solution you worked out yourself, huh, you won't even allow it not to work. I don't know if you get me. You will not even allow it not to work. So this is what I do personally. So I also, anybody, you can hardly see me. You come to me to mentor you, or you come to me with an issue and you say, "Man, I have this problem." If you're expecting me to say, "Oh, just go and do this," it's not going to happen. I need you to work it out. I need you to step by step look at it. Discover it on your own. And when you discover it on your own, it is lasting. It's lasting because you discovered it. You found this solution. And in the process of finding this solution, you have found the possible loopholes and you have looked for how to plug them. So, like I said, uh, it's how I solve problems. And so, because this is how I solve problems, it flows naturally that if you come to me, this is what I'm going to teach you. So it's good, it's essential that we truly, truly lead ourselves. We must lead ourselves. We must be self aware. And it's essential that we also self discipline. And there's one thing I think it's not that I learned recently, but it's hit home differently recently. It's like discipline is not punishment. Not punishment. It's actually alignment. Because for years, even I myself carried this mindset that discipline is punishment. But discipline is not punishment, it's alignment. So self discipline is not that you're punishing yourself, it's that you're aligning to your values, aligning your actions, you're aligning your words, you're aligning your thoughts to your vision, to that person you want to be. Oh, discipline is not punishment. It's not punishment. It is alignment. And it's like that bridge or that connector. Yeah. That connector between your values and your actions is discipline. That bridge between your actions, your values, is discipline. It's discipline that will get you to, bridge the divide between your actions and your values. Discipline. When you lead yourself well, you're able to show up even when nobody is watching. Discipline. What discipline means to you could be different from what discipline means as per specifics. For example, waking up, let's assume I need to wake up 5 a.m. every morning. That I Okay, Kelechi, you feel discipline is punishment too. I will discipline you. We even use exactly, we use that expression. I will discipline you. Discipline is not punishment. Punishment is punishment on its own. Discipline is alignment, aligning your actions to the values you're proposing or the values you want to imbibe. So discipline is not punishment. Like I said, it's sinking into me more now. I used to see discipline as punishment, and I enforced it as such. Just like what Kelechi said, I will discipline you. That is the way we see it. But discipline is really not punishment. It's alignment. It's alignment. So there's something I saw someone write somewhere, and they said, think of discipline like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And that is true. That is so true. The more you work on self discipline, the more disciplined you become. And it just, at a point, some of the things that used to be discipline, in quote, become normal behavior for you. The things you have to work on to make sure that you did, they just become normal behavior because you have done them over and over. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. All right. Um, what else? Okay, maybe let's just look at a few practical um, habits that you can have. Ugh, okay, my tablet is, how do they say, it's turning on its own, Abby? It's doing its own thing. It's taking off my notes. So as I'm talking, it's going somewhere else. I have to remember what I wrote down and all that. Okay. It has truly gone on a journey. I had written down some practical, that's what I'm trying to find, that we can look at, some habits that we can look at and see how to maybe start imbibing them. You're welcome, Kelechi. Um, okay, let me think of one. Okay, for example, you want to start having a morning ritual. I don't even know if I like that word ritual, but we have turned it to a bad word in this part of the world in Nigeria. But a morning routine, let me use routine. You want to start a morning routine, and it could be just that you want to start your day with more clarity. You want to ensure that you start each day with more clarity and not just jump into the day. That could be a habit you're trying to form in order to lead yourself well. And you can do this quite simply. Sometimes when we hear some of these things, they look so complicated and so difficult. Simple thing. For example, this morning routine, it can be prayer, it can be journaling, it can be sitting down and planning your day in the mornings. So let's assume that this is the habit you want to build into your day to help you in leading yourself well. If prayer is too hard for you, because yeah, I know for some people prayer is hard. mm, Start with journaling. In one group I belong to, we're doing I think it's 1 week gratitude journal. I think it's 1 week. So every day you submit to the group what you wrote in your gratitude journal. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? So it could just be that. Do you know what the benefit of doing like gratitude journaling in the morning is that as you are able, not even say, let me not say if you are able, as you are able to write down, even if it's just two things that you're grateful for. One, those things you wrote down, if you read them again, unless your heart is, I don't know what to call it, iron now or what, it should even prompt you to begin to pray. It should even prompt you to begin to thank God for those things. It will even prompt you to begin to, and as you're being grateful, as you're spending that time appreciating God, appreciating the good things that you have had in your life, you begin to, plans really begin to form in your head how to go about this day better. I don't know if it happens to any other person, but it happens to me. Anytime that I take out time to do like a gratitude journaling, to put down what I'm grateful for in the morning, by doing it as a morning routine, then it prompts praise. It prompts praise in my heart. And I don't know, I don't even know if it's possible for you to have a session or a time where you're expressing praise to God, expressing gratitude to Him for all that He has done for you, all that He's doing for you. And then your day, I don't even know how the day now goes by. I don't know. I don't know. Because you have started the day with clarity for sure. You have started the day on the right note. So, yes, you want to start your day with clarity. Consider journaling, consider prayer. It works because truly, from that place of the journaling or the praying, you come out and your mind is so clear. Your mind is so clear. You can now move on from there and maybe begin to plan your day if that's the next thing you want to do. But you see that these things are they're simple things actually that we can begin to do, and they lead us to more profound things, more profound actions. Um, for example, what else? Okay, you want to you want to set boundaries. That's a habit you want to imbibe. You want to be able to set boundaries with people generally. So the purpose of setting the boundaries, once again, is not to build, high walls. It's just to protect your time, protect your energy. So you can simply start with just saying no with grace. Um, this is something I think I still struggle with it a little bit. Boundaries. I still do. I really have to be honest. I still do struggle with boundaries. I'm still working on saying no with grace, saying no with clarity, so that the person understands why I'm saying no. And well, if you now still take offense, sorry, but then I'm still learning to say no with grace and clarity. This is one of the, let's say, best ways to actually establish boundaries. Being able to say no, but saying it with grace, saying it with clarity, making the point of why you're saying no and not just saying no for the sake of saying no. You're not just saying no because you just want to say no, but making it clear that I'm trying to protect my time, I'm trying to protect my energy. So it's not about me pushing you away. It's not about me putting up high walls against you. It's just that I need to protect my time. I need to protect my energy. And so I need to say no to this at this time. I need to say no to this at this time. Like I said, me too, I'm still working on this one. Oh. I am still working on this. Boundaries are so hard. Boundaries, they are difficult. They really are. So, in order for us to lead ourselves, to lead others, in order for us to truly influence others, it's essential that we start by leading ourselves. It's essential that we start by working on ourselves. It's probably not going to be glamorous, not going to be shiny and all. No, no, probably not. It's the daily grind, the daily consistency, the daily discipline, the daily awareness of who you are, of what triggers you, of what sets you off, and the whys of it is the daily action, the daily taking time. When you do this and you come to a point where, to a large extent, you're leading yourself, it's easier to now influence others. From that place, with that as your base, it's easier to lead others. It's easier to influence others because you have done it. In fact, you've already done the practice run. Excuse me. You have done the practice run on yourself. You have worked out the kinks of the process on yourself. So you can now practice it and see it work on others. I hope that I've helped us this afternoon. I hope that I've made some impact on your experience this afternoon. So I want to confirm our next session. So let me ask us today. Um, Go ahead and audit your own current self leadership. What areas are you consistent? What areas do you need growth? What areas do you need to work on? And then go ahead this week. Choose one habit, something that will help you strengthen your self leadership and practice it. Fred, I see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So look for one area. Sometimes we do get overwhelmed because we are trying to work on too many things. Just pick one habit for this week, one habit that will strengthen your self leadership, and then work on it. Just one, just one, and work on it for this week. And come back next week and tell me how it went. Tell me how it went, because all my gadgets are having their own mind today. I'm trying to find my, okay, let me check if I can get it here, where I wrote down the topics for this. Okay, yeah, the topics for this month and actually next month too. Okay, yeah, so our program next week, um, we're talking about showing up with integrity, character is influence. And we're having a guest next week. And his name is Coach Iho Orienru. I hope I pronounced that name well. Father, help me. So there you have it. That's our topic for next week, showing up with integrity. Character is influence. Somebody will come and speak with us. And also the upper week, we also have a guest. So two guests back to back this August, 12th and 19th. All right, so I bring to an end today's session of Growth Habits with Ngozi. Thank you all so much for joining me, and for those that watch the replay, thank you so much. Those that joined on Instagram, Victor, Chef Nenny, those that joined on Facebook, Fred Promise, Kelechi, also Favor Joshua. Those are the ones I can see. Those that watch live on YouTube or that will watch the replay on YouTube, thank you for joining me. Those that joined on LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you joining me. And just let me see something. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to check something quickly on LinkedIn. All right, so thank you all so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure today on Growth Habits with Ngozi. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn, right? Yes. So join us on all our social media handles. You can join through Good Habits with Ngozi on Facebook here. We have a group, or you just follow me, Ngozi Onwuchuluba. It's all the same. On Instagram, Ngozi Ko, and Growth Habits with Ngozi. On YouTube, Growth Habits with Ngozi. On TikTok, Growth Habits with Ngozi. Um, I think I've gone the rounds. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you again next week right here on Growth Habits with Ngozi. Um, do have an awesome day, and remember to make today and every day count. Be valuable and ensure that you are growing. Thank you so much and have an awesome day. Bye.